So you have Chicago, the city, and Illinois, the state, willing to go to war with the federal government over undocumented immigrants. This whole time, black Americans are losing their communities in Chicago because of a spike, a property tax increase by 133%. That's only impacting black communities. And they seen this coming the whole time. So you're willing to go to war with Trump, but you're a head state, you're a head figure of these local governments, and you're not willing to put anything in place to protect your black American residents. Right? What a joke. Right? You have West Garfield Park property tax increased by 133%, and then you have Inglewood and North Lawndale. Look at this. Which the local governments knew that this was coming, right? And all this tax money, they're going to invest it back into Chicago public schools, which 30% of the students are immigrants, ESL programs, which is going to benefit them. And then some of this money even goes to asylum applications, CPS status, to protect immigrants legally. But where's the protection at for the black American residents, right? That's about to lose their generational wealth. We all know home ownership is the first step in establishing generational wealth, and these communities are about to just be destabilized, right? And this is a local government, right? These are head figures of local government, Brandon Kaida and JB Prick, and they're not doing anything to protect these black American citizens, but willing to go to war with the federal government over some.
Let's just call it what it is. It's gentrification. Residents of Chicago on the west side, south side, predominantly black neighborhoods like Lawndale, Inglewood, not black, and brown, those residents all got hit with property bills. Late, might I add, with 100 to 200% raises. For example, that means if your property taxes was typically $20K, you got a letter that was saying that your stuff is for $40K now. That's not the type of money people can just pull out of nowhere. It's gentrification at its finest, but what they are saying is that the shops and the locations downtown that are unrented, like that big spot downtown where Macy's was before on the Mag Mall, yeah, that's permanently closed, and that spot has not been taken up since. So they saying all these places that have no occupation, the residents from the west side and the south side of Chicago have to make up the difference. Because, yeah, that makes sense. Like, I know our city is in a lot of debt, and the mayor's trying to do everything that he possibly can to make sure that we make up this debt. But doubling people's property tax when property tax is already high in Chicago is freaking insane. And why is it just the west side and the south side? Why isn't it not the north side or the east side? Like, granted, the property taxes up north are already really high, but I'm just saying, let's make it equal, let's make it fair.
So if you live in Chicago, you need to hear this because rent is about to go up, mortgage is going up. It is crazy. Like, my mortgage payment is going up $1,000 in Chicago, Illinois. The city decided, Cook County has decided to increase taxes significantly, mine double. Like, it's almost a lot, like $7,000-8,000 increase from what it was in the previous couple years I've had this property. And unfortunately, it's going to have to get passed down to me, my tenants, the people that are living my property. Like, it's going to be ridiculous. Like, I don't understand how this has not made huge news yet, and how people are uprising about this. Like, $1,000, like, imagine you coming home one day, and if you're renting, your landlord tells you, oh, by the way, rent's got to go up because taxes increase. Like, what are we going to do? And they're claiming it's this new tax called TIF tax increase, and it's starting January 1st. So if you don't know about it, please do your research on it. But this is going to be major. Like, you're going to see people just flying off the rails, selling their properties because people can't afford it anymore. It's going to be way too expensive. People can't live in the county anymore because it's going to be way too expensive. So do some research, look this up, know this. We need to go talk to the county, call the county, protest this. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, this is going to be a huge impact on people, and it's going to decrease the ability for people to be able to live. So what are we going to do about this?
I know. Because guess what? I'm feeling it too. As a homeowner, as a landlord, as someone who owns real estate in Cook County, I think I can speak for all of us. This sucks. We have not seen a tax jump like this in over 30 years. The median increase citywide, 16%. 16%. Don't even let me get started on the west and south side of Chicago. Look at that. West Garfield, 133%. North Lawndale, 99%. Inglewood, 80%. Now, what the city is trying to say that since the commercial real estate in the downtown area has lost value, 129 million to be exact, that burden is being pushed on you and me. Is it fair? It kind of is what it is. Now, what you can do is you can appeal your taxes before the deadline, and you can also apply to be put on a payment plan, but you will be paying interest. If you're feeling what I'm feeling, this ain't a good.
I guess $1 Million Tony couldn't make it today. She too busy loving her home she just got for $1 million, while we just received these high property tax bills. So we all here because of our property taxes. Some here, like Zoe and Miss Jessica, because y'all stealing Black people property. So I just want to know, because we just came from the city council meeting. We're coming there and the city is blaming the county. And now you just blaming Springfield. And then when you, all these people, when they go to these town hall meetings and you send your puppets, they lie and they blame the invisible white man. Somehow they are pushing us out of our community. They want our property. They want Black people property. They never say who it is. They just say, you know who they are. But when I come up in here, I see all Black faces. I see Democrats. So are we talking about the Democrats are pushing Black people out of their communities? The Democrats hate Black people. The Democrats want our property and replace us with illegal aliens, because you all come in these meetings talking about the invisible white person, but we don't never see him, but we see all of you all here. And then you sit here, all these Black faces, you sit here all Democrats, and you sit here all arrogantly like your seats are secure, like we are not coming after these seats. Just like I told Brennan Johnson over there the first time I spoke on that mic, I said the same thing that's making y'all laugh in here gonna make y'all cry. And then you see what's happening. Same thing here. Now I'm giving y'all warning right here. The same thing that's making y'all laugh in here is gonna make y'all cry. Mark my words. See, y'all sit here too comfortably, thinking that everything, Black people stupid, that we don't understand what's going on, that we gonna vote blue no matter who, and all y'all gotta do is use the race card. All y'all gotta do is call white supremacy, the white man. But we're in a heavily Democratic city from top to bottom, state and city, all Democrats. So can we say that the Democrats are racist white men or white women? Who is it? Because this is what y'all telling us. So I'm letting you all know, Chicago Flips Red, we are not paying these taxes. We are calling for a boycott on these taxes. Nobody is playing this game no more. We won't pay our taxes until we get a forensic audit on where all our money is going. We're demanding that. We're asking President Trump to send the feds here.
30 seconds.
The DOJ here. We need a forensic audit on where our money is going. And we are not paying no property taxes. And we are calling for a boycott. And we're going around to every ward in the city and calling for it.
This is going to come off super simplistic, but it's because I'm still trying to wrap my brain around it. And it may be niche to Chicago, but something tells me that corruption isn't a unique Chicago thing. I bet a lot of other cities across the country are going through the same thing. So let me get this right. We've been told that Black and brown communities' property taxes in the city of Chicago needed to skyrocket, go through the roof. Why? Because commercial property owners in the downtown and Loop area appealed their taxes and were granted those appeals. Turns out that Trump Tower here in the city of Chicago was granted a 39% reduction in their property taxes. What a surprise. And simultaneously, they're trying to tell us that we can't pass a budget because Mayor Brandon Johnson is trying to pass a head tax where he would tax large corporations $33 an employee per month. $33, right? That would be the tax. And instead, our alder people are saying, no. Instead, we want to raise garbage fees and liquor taxes and raise other fees on the backs of your everyday Chicagoans who don't happen to be corporations. And I'll say it again, this is super simplistic. I'm missing a lot of the details. Like that head tax that Mayor Johnson is proposing, it sounds really good, doesn't it? But how is that money going to be used? It's not enough to tax these corporations with this head tax if you're not going to use that money properly so that it helps lighten the load on Chicagoans. But instead of hearing any real solutions, you've got the governor, the mayor, the treasurer, the Cook County assessor, the Cook County Board of Review, all pointing fingers at each other. It's distract. It's your fault. But nobody comes up with any real solutions, and nothing ever changes. You want to know why Chicago is called the Windy City? It was coined the Windy City by New York journalists during the World's Fair because of our politicians and how they like to blow a lot of hot air. It's all talk. And here we are in 2025. We've got Pritzker and Mayor Brandon Johnson fighting over the mic to see who can say something against Trump. When here, in their own backyard, the Cook County Board of Review approved a 39% appeal, property tax appeal for Trump Tower here in downtown Chicago. That's right, folks. While our politicians love to yap and talk about how they're going to take on Trump, they're over here making him richer on the backs of Black and brown Chicagoans. And it's not just Trump, it's all these corporations that are in bed with our politicians, our local politicians here in Chicago, because they love to tell us, well, if we raise these corporations' property taxes or if we tax them more, they're going to leave. It's going to hurt our economy. Guess what? These corporations aren't hiring anybody. That's why they have so many vacant properties. Instead of hiring people, they're taking on AI so they can phase us humans out of their business plans. I mean, I would understand if there was record high employment in the city of Chicago, but there isn't. There isn't.
Jamal Green, a black politician from the city of Chicago, has decided to sue the jam into silence before he decided to support a tax on massive corporations. The Chicago government is currently at risk of being shut down if a balanced budget is not passed by December 31st. Mayor Brandon Johnson proposed a $21 per employee tax on corporations hiring over 100 employees in the city of Chicago. This head tax existed in the city of Chicago for about 30 years, from the 70s to 2014, until Rahm Emanuel got rid of it. And instead of throwing more police at the problem,
we already have lots of police officers, but what we don't have is youth investment.
The $100 million that will be generated through this head tax would go to youth intervention programs, gender-based violence programs, etc., things that are proven to drive down crime numbers. something that a lot of the business interests in the city seem to care so much about. The business community also, because they can afford to, have an outsized representation within our local news media. So much so that every single discussion you're going to see is going to be framed around what's best for business and not what's best for people. As the budget fight has drawn on, the classic argument that was deployed against Mamdani a few seconds ago, that being the businesses will just up and leave Chicago, was deployed and spat out ad nauseum from all types of people, regardless of the fact that the businesses never leave, because oh yeah, when you reroute some of the wealth that's been hoarded towards taking care of people, the city becomes nicer, which makes the city more attractive for businesses. Regardless of the fact that businesses factor in multiple things, including proximity to talent, and Chicago has a bunch of public universities in its city limits that spit out a lot of good talent, regardless of the fact that a company would not shoot itself in the foot and remove itself from one of the major metropolitan areas over $21 when their competitor is still in Chicago. Jamal Green came in our comment section and alleged that we're being paid by the city of Chicago to support the budget. The evidence he provides? The fact that Brandon Johnson came on our podcast. Something that he did of his own volition, by the way. Jamal levied this accusation with no evidence, and no evidence that can be provided, because we've never been paid by any politician to support anything. And we're for damn sure not being paid by the city we've lived in and grew up in to advocate for a budget for a year. My research into the person making these allegations with no evidence then led me to an article in The Tribe that had been public since 2023 that Green was aware of and chose not to comment about, regarding him and a bunch of other politicians in the city of Chicago accepting money from Vallis's campaign and helping support him and churn out the vote for him. Specifically, I point to the part in the article where it mentions how an LLC that had Green listed as a manager as recently as 2022 received money from Paul Vallis's campaign one day before Jamal Green endorsed him, as opposed to Brandon Johnson, somebody who is probably more ideologically aligned with Jamal Green. That article is pulling from this data from the Illinois State Board of Elections, which has been collecting this electronically since the 90s, if you want to look it up for yourself. In response to being represented with this information in podcast form, what followed was a lot of flailing in the comment section, a lot of defending himself, and then him saying that I lied about it because he asked ChatGPT and it said no, he never got paid. I then received a text message from Jamal Green. Don't know how he got my number, demanding to be on the podcast, leaving information about where in the south suburbs we grew up, and using my mother's last name as some sort of veiled threat I can only interpret it as. We then received a cease and desist saying that there is no public record of the claims that we made and that we need to delete all the slanderous claims and the defamatory claims about Jamal Green. He then followed up with another claim he can't substantiate, that we're getting paid by the Black Voters Matter Fund, which is funny because they didn't hit the line until after they seen the clip that we already made about you. So to recap, a black man from Inglewood who claims to love protecting the youth and doesn't want us to support this bill because it's damaging our future has decided to sue us after he made a claim that he could not substantiate and got slapped in his mouth with a claim that's supported by evidence. And I ask you, in service of what? So that these companies that make billions each year won't have to pay collectively $100 million. Over the coming days, I will make sure to do everything in my power to see to it that the fight is won, both on the budget front and on the lawsuit front. I will keep y'all posted with any updates as the situation develops. And once again, if you live in Chicago, call your alderperson and demand they fight for you